What is up, you guys? Pete Carlo here with DeCarlo Capital, and today we're talking about a stock that we have not gone over in a long time, and that is AMC. So we're going to talk about this big weekly breakout. We're going to talk about why, and we're going to go over where I see AMC going in the next couple of weeks. So hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you stay up to date with all these videos since they're time sensitive. Check out our free Discord community down below. You guys get access to free courses, free live streams, free seminars, webinars, as well as a ton of other great content. It's all completely for free. The link is in the description. Taking a look at AMC, this is a weekly chart. So the very first thing that I want you guys to realize here is that this is not a short amount of time. What you are seeing here is from last year, May of 2021, up until right now. So this is obviously the big breakout that you guys probably remember from May all the way up till June, where we hit highs of $70. And basically for the past year, the stock has done nothing but slowly sell its way off all the way down to $15, which is about a 78% loss if you were buying at the tippy top, around $60 to $70. Now, one thing I always tell my students is to watch candles like a psychological pattern. So each candle, whatever the time frame is not only telling you the price of the stock and where it's been, but psychologically is telling you the consensus of investors as to what they feel about the stock. So when we have massive wicks, it's showing you that there's a lot of indecision and a tug of war between the bulls and the bears. If it's a huge red candle, then obviously we know the bears took over, the bulls gave it up. If it's a huge green candle, like we're seeing right here on this most recent weekly, the bears gave up, the bulls took it over. So that's what I want you guys to realize. Now, looking at this weekly chart, we have a descending wedge, and a descending wedge is where we have a resistance that slowly makes its way down and a support that slowly makes its way down, but they eventually meet here, which is what's called the head or the apex of the wedge. Think of it like a pimple. Resistance is squeezing down, support is squeezing down until you hit the head of that pimple, and then the pus blasts out to either side. It's nasty, but it's a great way of explaining it. So in this case, 80 to 90% of the time with a descending wedge, we break to the upside. You can also see that we normally get what's called a divergence, and a divergence occurs when the stock makes a lower low, which I'll go ahead and highlight here. So a lower low, but the RSI, the relative strength index, makes a higher low, which basically means that that downward movement is starting to weaken, which is a good sign because if we're moving or we're trying to find that reversal, we want that downward movement to weaken. Now, one thing I want you to understand here, yes, technically we had this breakout. Now, it's not like technical analysis knew that AMC was going to potentially buy a mining corporation. That's not what I'm trying to say here. But what I want you to realize by looking at this descending wedge and now seeing a pop with this fundamental news that has come out is that basically for the past year, investors have been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for the short squeeze, waiting for AMC to turn things around, waiting for news, waiting for something to where big money can throw a shitload of money in it and get that move up. Because you have to remember, we're not moving the stock. Wall Street Bets is not moving the stock. Big money has to move the stock. We are just guppies that swim next to these massive sharks and whales. We have to wait for them to make a move. So big money is just waiting for a time, waiting for a reason to buy the living crap out of this and push the stock up. This was that example. So yes, technicals met fundamentals perfectly, but it's not like the descending wedge created the news, obviously. But that's something I do want you to understand, that technicals can indicate potentially something happening. It's not like we're trying to predict the future here, but we're just using descending wedges as an example. Now, looking at a smaller time frame, because we do have this big breakout, you can see we had a lot of volume here at 20. So 20 and 18, good supports and resistances. Since then, there's not a lot of volume. So it's very easy, with how low volume is on the volume profile over here, for us to break out. Look at the 4 hour. You can see here, good support at 30, old resistance. So we're trying to get through. Now, what does this doji tell you, right? We opened up today at 30, ran all the way up to 34, dropped all the way down to 27, and now we're back right at 29.71, right where we closed. Indecision. That's not something you really want to see. You want to see candles like we saw yesterday, where we open at lows, close at highs, open at lows, close at highs. That is showing conviction. This is no conviction here. Doesn't mean the stock has to drop or it's going to continue to run, but it's just showing you indecision. Now, looking at the daily chart, one other thing I want you to note, this rejection point is right here at $34. The 200 SMA and thick area of volume on the volume profile. In my honest opinion, I would not be chasing this. I would not be running after this. I would not be buying this. Doesn't mean you're not going to make money. You guys know that at this point, I don't really trade a ton of volatile things. But at this point, I would not be chasing AMC. Long-term investing, we're not talking about that here. But from a short-term trading standpoint, I would not be chasing it. Potentially, if it drops down to 22.50, you end up wanting to get in. Sure, that's great. But I think the bulk of the move, the piece of the move that you really want to get into was buying down at $20 and best bet buying at 15. So I would wait for a pullback. Guys, thanks for all the support. I hope this helps. Hit the like button, subscribe, and have a great day. Peace.